Hi, welcome to solving equations using multiplication or division. Let's look at this first equation. It says 2x equals 16. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the side that has the variable. So on the left side we have the variable x, and we want to get it by itself. So there's a 2 here. How is it attached to the x? It's attached through multiplication. So that moves us into this math operation box. These are the 4 different math operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we need to do the opposite of multiplication, which puts us in this box, and that's division. So this is what the division is going to look like. That line means divide, and I'm going to take what's in front of the x, put it underneath on both sides. And we know that 2 over 2 is 1. And 1 times x is x, and then 16 divided by 2 is 8. So this is how you'll see the opposite of multiplication. You'll see the division as a fraction. Let's try another problem. Let's take a look at this one. The x is on the left side. There's a 7 attached to it. How's it attached to the x? Through multiplication. So that moves us to this math operation box. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to make a fraction bar and put what was in front of the x underneath on both sides of the equals. 7 over 7 equals 1, and 1 times x is x, so you get x by itself. And then 35 divided by 7 is 5. But now we're working with integers, positive and negative numbers. And so we're going to look at our multiplication and division rule box for integers. You count the number of negative signs. If you get an even number of negative signs, the answer is positive. If you get an odd number of negative signs, the answer is negative. So if we count the negative signs, we get 1. 1 is an odd number, so our answer is negative 5. Now we can also check our answer by starting with the original equation. We solve for x, and we're going to substitute it right here, like that. And then if we solve this side, we get negative 35 equals negative 35. So you know that you got the right answer for x. Let's try another one. Okay, this time we have an equation with a negative on the left and a negative on the right. Again, I want to get x by itself. What's attached to x? A negative 4. How's it attached to the x? Through multiplication. So this puts us in this box. And so the opposite's division. So we're going to make our fraction bar. I'm going to take what's in front of the x, so the negative with the 4 on both sides. This equals 1, and these 2 negatives become positive because 2 is an even number of negative signs. Now I'm going to look at this side. 16 divided by 4 is 4, and I'm going to count the negatives. 1, 2. 2 is an even number, so that means my answer is going to be positive 4. Let's take a look at another method of solving equations, and this will be working with multiplication. So we have m over 5 equals 3. These look so hard and they're so easy. I'm going to find my variable, it's right here, and what's attached to it? A 5. How is it attached to the m? Through division. So that puts me in this operations box trying to find the opposite. What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So I'm going to have you make a multiplication dot on both sides, and you're going to take the 5 and you're going to multiply these. This is really 5 over 1, and you use cross cancellation. They're both divisible by 5, and that would give you 1 over 1. And 1 times m is m. And then you'd simply multiply 3 times 5 is 15. So that's pretty easy. Let's take a look at another problem. Alright, this time our variable is on the right side. What's attached to it? A 4. It's attached through division, so we need to multiply do the opposite to get rid of it. These equal 1, so I drop down my m, and 4 times 20 is 80. Let's look at a problem that involves a negative number. I'm going to focus on my variable. What's attached to it? A negative 3. How's it attached? Through division. So I go to my opposite, which is multiplication, and I'm going to multiply by whatever was attached to m, which was negative 3. So the multiplication is the opposite. These cancel out and they equal 1. And the two negatives are even, so that turns into a positive, and that just leaves me with m. And now I look at my right side of my equals, and I have a negative 6 times a negative 3, which is 18. I've got two negatives, so if we use our rule box, 2 is an even number, and that would make that positive 18. If I wanted to check my work, I could take the original equation, and I'm going to plug this in. I'm going to substitute that in for m, so I would have 18 over negative 3 equals negative 6. And yes, 18 divided by negative 3 is negative 6 equals negative 6. So this is working with equations using multiplication and division. It's really pretty easy and lots of fun. Thank you for visiting my video, and check out my others online.